what do you think keeps the culture of your inner circle alive and thriving? And how can this role be reflected in the boardroom, especially in how senior and middle management experience the organization? And does the board's tone really have that influence for that mood in the middle that we talk about? And perhaps while you're there, also tell us, boardroom culture is one thing, but how does that differ from organizational culture?
It's a loaded question, but there are a couple of things that I have done, and I think all of us can do, to ensure that we, as much as possible, influence the culture of our inner circle. And I think the first thing which the chairman alluded to is modeling. You model the culture that you want to see. You behave in the manner that you want others to behave, so that then becomes the entrenched way of doing things in that group or society or the department or the entity. So modeling tends to be a very powerful way of achieving a desired culture. And here, I'm assuming that we all agree with the definition or understanding of a culture. People have defined it variously. Other people say, don't get complicated. Culture is simply the character of the leader. Some people believe it's as simple as that. It's nothing but a reflection of the culture, of the character of the leader. If the leader is harsh, then it will reflect the culture of the entity. But anyway, some people have thought it's more scientific than that. They say culture is the way in which the inherent power of a unit is used to punish, promote, or permit. So the way you use your power to do those things is really the culture of the entity. And modeling becomes a very powerful tool to do that. Another thing you can do is bridge the proximity between yourself and the people that you want to influence. And I know you asked a family question. In the family, proximity is a very useful tool because you're close to the family members. The gap between yourselves and other members, desirably is short. So the proximity itself helps you to infuse certain habits and things to influence the culture. But not so much in an institution. And Chair, you asked the question, how are these things, how can then these aspects be transferred to an organization? And I think it's a little more complicated there because proximity is not a given. We all know that in some institutions, the board is, as they say, up there. Terms like that are used. The board is up there, meaning that the board is not proximate to the people that it's leading. And yet, modeling is an important way of disseminating cultural, characteristics. So where there's no proximity, then it becomes very difficult. But going back to the first question, how else would one influence in a culture? It's by creating habits and rituals. And I think we do that in the home setting. Chair talked about praying. Prayer is a ritual. And when it's done together, it forces people to behave in a certain way collectively. But going back to the mood in the middle and whether it's easy to influence the mood in the middle, I think other than not being proximate to the people that you want to influence, I think in institutions there are layers of culture. Yeah, you will find that it's very, very difficult to come across any organization that has a homogeneous culture. You will find that the finance people behave a certain way. Mm-hmm. Yeah, amen?
No offense to
internal audit. Internal audits have a different culture. Marketing guys are marketing guys. Yeah? So how does a board then, with this work group culture, which is a reality, influence these people in the same way?
Mm-hmm.
Does modeling necessarily work? Does proximity necessarily work? Do rituals work? So the answer to your question, Chair, is that it's not as easy to use some of the domestic methods to influence culture flow to the middle, because the middle is not one homogeneous group. The middle is also a mixed bag of people. And each department arguably can also behave like the leader that is leading them, or can behave in a manner that promotes their specific roles or not. So yeah, that's what I would say.